Getting super close.
All right, it's 6 o'clock. We're going to call the meeting to order. Roll call. We have Peter, Kathy, Jean, myself, and Diane. Now we need approval of the agenda of tonight's meeting.
I so move.
Peter moves. Second.
Second.
Okay. Jean second. All in favor? Aye. Minutes of regular meeting of May 12th and the special meeting of April 17th. We'll start with the regular meeting of May 12th.
There's a comment in there that I think is,
Which is?
it's inappropriate and unnecessary because the information's there. It's the one under C, Independent Contractor Report, where Don stated that the district administrator was a liar and stated that the financial reporting of the administrator was incorrect. I think the stated that district administrator was a liar really is unnecessary to be in there.
Well, okay.
There was other things that were said in that meeting that were not reflected in here either.
My feelings is that what's inappropriate really is that the statement. Secondly, what's inappropriate is that it's not an isolated instance, that there have been many comments such as this in public meetings, and they are recorded, as Peter knows, and that, going back to hostility issues, nothing was done to moderate that behavior, including inappropriate comments, yelling at me, calling me a liar, telling me to shut up in a public open.
Okay. So
I'm just making a statement. If
I
somebody made a statement, I don't think they feel it inappropriate for it to be documented.
I agree with Jean. I believe that that type of editorializing in the minutes is inappropriate, regardless of who it is. Whether, we certainly don't put everything that gets screamed across this room from the public or board directors. And I think this is it's obvious that it was put there to make a statement. And I agree with Jean to have some minutes.
I think it's sufficient to say that she stated the financial reporting of the administrator was incorrect.
So I'll need a motion to accept the minutes. If you want to make a change, is that what you're saying?
I'd like to change this.
This is what the one sentence out.
Just a part of that sentence.
Okay, any other comment, any other board members? Peter?
No.
Kathy?
No.
Okay, then we'll need a motion and a second on that.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Who made the motion?
Jean.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Then the last thing is a special meeting of April 17th.
My apologies for not getting them in the board packet. I had them at the last meeting, and I picked them up off the table. So I brought them and put them in front of everybody.
Okay. Is there any question on these minutes?
Well, I mentioned to Kathy that there were actions taken in the meeting that aren't reflected in these minutes, most notably the board's decision to engage a management consultant to address hostility issues within the district that have been historical, as well as the board's decision to hire a part-time admin as to alleviate some of this excessive workload.
The reason why I was the one that took the minutes of the meeting, and because there was only one agenda item on the minutes, it was specifically relating to the discipline, dismissal, release of a government employee, that I kept the minutes short because the other things were not agendized. There was never anything on this agenda that talked about any type of resolution to the board that should have come back to the board. We could discuss it as a full board at a board meeting, but these minutes reflect only what is involved and what was agendized for that meeting. That was my.
I understand that any actions that are taken need to be documented.
There was an action that was taken, and it was documented.
Go ahead, Peter.
I can understand your position on that, but I think I would concur that since we did actually take action and voted on it and everybody agreed that whether it was right or wrong, we need to document the fact that it is.
So what you're saying then is that you would accept the minutes if that particular thing was in there, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Those two actions that were noted.
Which,
You know, I have the notes that I took, and I was the only one that was responsible enough to take notes that day. And where are they? The only action item I actually have that was motioned and voted on was the probationary period, 4-month period. The rest was just a discussion. We can't, and it was the only thing that we could have done an action on was what was on the agenda, which is the public employee discipline, dismissal, release pursuant to government code, blah, blah, blah.
okay, I can understand that, but then if that were true, we should adjourn the meeting after the first 6 or 7 minutes, because we all agreed that the original topic was, say it was an open general meeting, a published open general meeting.
I might suggest that
There
we
was a
take it to-
video, so.
And that's fine too. But I just have a difficult time putting stuff in the minutes that wasn't even agendized, because that's almost a Brown Act
Well,
violation.
okay,
right
but
there.
the whole thing, let's not go there, because not only wasn't it agendized, but it was probably not a particularly valid meeting anyway.
I'm sorry, I
It
didn't.
was probably not a particularly valid meeting anyway.
Why
I don't
not?
think we should probably go there.
So what should we do then? What's the
I think
let's
we
go
just,
through that.
does anybody disagree that we talked about the, getting a mediator
No,
counselor?
but I don't disagree that we talked about that at all.
Okay.
I just feel that there's a more appropriate forum to discuss it again. That's
Well,
all.
it's not a matter of time being left to do that. I mean, if that's what we're going to do within a 4-month period and 2 months have already elapsed, then we can't sort of put it on next month's agenda to talk about, because it'll be all over.
Well, and just for a frame of reference, you know, the board regarding this meeting received an email for information only from Peter, and his interpretation of what that mediation was for was completely not correct. It had nothing to do with Diane and Don. It had to do with the board directors amongst ourselves. And we got very, very far off track at that, what was supposed to be a closed session, and there would be no minutes that Diane requested open. So there's that fine line of what was just a discussion. There was not an action item made on the management. We discussed it. We all thought it was a good idea. There was no motion made. There was no motion seconded, and it was not a vote. The only thing that was voted on was the probationary period. Peter made the motion. I believe Jean seconded, and we voted for it. And that's what I put in the minutes. I'm not trying to be difficult.
You're right.
Okay, so anyway, my last question.
It's all documented in these
So
minutes.
what are we going to do about this? Is what I'm
Wait,
saying.
wait.
That's tonight.
I want to backtrack and say that the meeting was not. I specifically asked early on in the meeting, what was the cause of this meeting? Why are we having this meeting? And Kathy answered me that it was a personnel meeting.
It was not a personnel meeting. It was the district.
No, it wasn't a personnel meeting. That the reason for having this special meeting came from a request from the personnel committee.
That is absolutely incorrect. That was not a request from the personnel committee.
Oh, I agree. It probably wasn't. But then who was requesting it?
But we're off track.
Yeah.
What we're doing is discussing, are we going to
We're
accept
just
the
trying
minutes?
to, we're just trying to accept the minutes. You want to accept the minutes or not?
No, I
Okay,
voted against it.
As far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter because they're documented, it's documented in these minutes.
Okay, so are we going to accept these minutes or not, so we can move on?
Yeah.
Did you make a motion?
I make a motion to accept the minutes.
So,
Kathy, you want a second?
Yes.
Kathy, okay. Motion made second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
I oppose.
Passed 3-1. Okay, we got through that. Public comment. Items not on the agenda limited to 3 minutes. Matters requiring discussion or action by the board will be placed on the agenda for next regular meeting. Any public comment? Yes, Roby.
Yeah, I hadn't planned on commenting on this, but since it was brought up again, I would ask the board members and staff to review the statement issued about decorum at the meetings some months ago and report to the chairperson that they had read and reviewed those. I was very embarrassed as a community member at what went on at the last meeting. Within the week I had gotten 2 requests and comments from the community asking me what happened, and I just said, I don't choose to say anything. I don't think things like that should go on at these meetings. I enjoy coming to these meetings, but I was not comfortable at that meeting. That I intended not to say. But I would ask also that we had a chamber meeting last night, and the chamber really is going to need help with setup and so on and so forth. And Dawn suggested that Mary and the chamber contact your board, and I thought that was a great idea. And I just want to say anything you can do to help would be appreciated. I'm not on that board, but I know how hard Mary and the board members work, and would appreciate. I'm going to volunteer a lot. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other public comment? No? Okay. Next on any old business? If not, we'll go to new business. Appropriation limit calculations for 2014-2015 fiscal year.
It's a resolution in the action item,
Okay.
so it's just the standard.
Okay. Any other discussion on that? So we'll make a action item. All right. Then the second B is committee realignment, vacant board seat. Have we heard anything about the vacant board seat? Can't see if anybody wants to
It
apply.
seemed like there was somebody who was interested.
It was Matthew Nash, he was here at the last meeting, and he emailed me the information for his request, and he never even acknowledged that he got the information, so. At what point do we take this to the board of supervisors? I think it's
Now,
imperative
60
we
days
have
are
a
supposed to.
board member.
And that would have been May 31st, I
Yeah.
believe.
I guess I'll call Pepper's office tomorrow and say, we're going to pass that. What's to be done. Okay, and what about the committee realignment? Do we need to do anything with that yet?
Well,
We'll wait for the other fifth board member.
At the last meeting, you indicated you were going to wait for the 5th board meeting.
That's what I asked again, yes. We'll do that then. Okay, next, Creekside Park Phase 2 walking path. Now, this was put on by Matthew,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and he's not here. Anybody else need to talk about it? Ryan, you want to say
we
anything?
don't have money for it.
Okay.
I knew what it was about. He talked to me, he wanted to have a discussion about it, just to let you know why he wanted to put on the meeting agenda. Is he talked to me after the board meeting last month, and apparently he's in some financial situation and possibly maybe losing his home, and he wanted, this is public, I mean, this wasn't like private, and he wanted to know if Rec Park District was still interested. We were apparently going to be purchasing an acre or so. I don't know the specifics. This was years ago, way before my time on the board, when the whole Creekside Phase 1 and Phase 2 were being developed. And so he was very interested in trying to see if that we would still want to do that and do it sooner rather than later, even though nothing has started on Phase 2. So I'm surprised he's not here, but that's why this was put on the agenda, to see if we would purchase this property.
Any comments from anybody? Okay. And we'll move on. The last thing is Creekside Park appraisal. I see the forms.
Yeah, I just put it just gives you an overview of
Yeah.
how they're appraising it, and it could end up costing more than that, depending on what they see when they get there. The way the property was formerly listed, it was something like a $1,700 appraisal. And I'm like, no, we haven't done anything, any interiors, one wing is gone, it's only this. So
it'd be the 250 is what you're...
yeah, we
Oh, okay.
250 to, maybe double. But
Okay.
we have to have it appraised in order to book it and for insurance and everything.
Okay. Any questions? If not, we'll go on.
Well, no,
Yeah, go ahead.
Does this affect any of our monies that we receive from grants or anything else like that? What the appraisal is? I mean, it doesn't invalidate anything or... Okay.
It's unrelated.
Okay. So the next would be board reports. Any board member have a report? No? Any staff report?
Just financials, what we expect, the areas we're over budget have to do with the hiring of Steve Pappen and bringing food services in. So we have Steve, an almost full-time person down there as well. You know, given that we just started on May 15th, it's exactly what we expect. You know, we're not making money, we've lost a little, but it's all, you know, a lot of startup cost, and then getting Steve up to speed. So far, you know, great crew this year. We are also going to be over, for sure, if we're paying because we don't have a concessionaire. Same thing. We have our own propane down there. We're not getting reimbursements. Water, we're probably going to go over because of all the leaks that we've had, including this most recent one at the community center. And also our grounds maintenance will end up going over because of all of those various things. The extra work that was done down on the beach for the handicap, things such as that. Shortfall on the beach, I don't know if we're going to make it up, but we had a horrible beginning, you know, well, the June to October last year just was terrible, you know. So we're ahead of projections now, and then definitely in June we're ahead of projections, but that's just for the May, June. So it's tough to say if we're going to make it up by October because of the water flow, you know. But then on the other side, the Groupon has really locked down a lot of people and brought a lot of people to our properties. It's been really great. The amount of customers and revenue that have come in and the percentage, they give you all kinds of reports about where are these people from. Interestingly enough, 80% of the purchasers are women. 68% have never been to our property before. Then you have a very large percentage of people who have been here but haven't been back in years and years, so they brought them back. And then you've got the really small 9% of current customers that come in. So it's informative, it gets out to a lot of people, and I think it was a pretty good thing. So that's really all I have to say.
Any questions? Independent contract? Oh, I'm sorry, you have a question?
Diane, does it list zip codes or anything like that?
It even shows, yes, it actually does. It shows all of your top locations and zip codes and, yeah.
Is there any area in particular that seems to be the majority?
Well, right now it's all Petaluma, Roanoke Park. I can show you these reports,
Okay.
you know, but majority are Petaluma, Roanoke Park, some Healdsburg, some Windsor, some Sebastopol.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good information.
Yeah, it is, and it's free.
When someone rents a boat, do we get their zip code as part of that package?
Yeah, we do, you know, but
It's on every rental. Yeah.
it's on every single round. So, yeah.
If there was a way to keep track of that more accurately.
When we hired the part-time admin, that's quite possible.
Well, or
It seems like at the end of the season, we can talk or something and see where the majority of the zip codes come from.
But actually, yeah, this map is pretty
It's
interesting.
like it's mostly all Sonoma County though, that's coming.
Well, I know we get a lot of, they're showing all of the top locations. They show like the top. Here's the top 14. I guess I could scroll. It's all a dashboard, unfortunately, and I've already talked to them about this. They don't do printable reports. It's all on the dashboard. So I'm just looking at screen prints, you know what I'm saying? And they're really responsive, so I have a feeling that they will have printable reports very, very soon. But it shows all of the top locations, all the way top to bottom to the umpteenth customer. So, yeah, it would show all the zip codes.
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you. Dawn, the independent contractor report.
Just a couple of things with regard to a comment that Roby made about the chamber needing help. I think what he meant was for the 4th of July weekend.
Right.
I asked Mary actually to come to the facilities meeting this morning and make a comment, but she didn't have the time.
We addressed it at the facilities
Okay.
meeting, and I got back to Mary.
I mean, it happens every year, So I'm sure that everybody is aware.
Because I was at the chamber, I knew what this was about, so.
My one question, though, is she did comment last night that the fire marshal was concerned about growth, dry growth around the area. Is that going to impact the event in Mount
We have a meeting this week.
Yeah, Steve's meeting.
We're going to take care of all
Cool.
the brush stuff. They're going to actually bend over backwards. The only difference they made is instead of 4-inch shells, they're only going to shoot 3-inch shells. So the impact zone. We're still going to have a show. It's just going to be a lot more regulated with it.
And just one other item with regard to the Groupon. I think I can tell you that I think it's been very successful. And when it first began, the only thing I would ask is if something like this takes place again, that we are alerted to know that it's going to happen. I received dozens of phone calls because I don't think everything was put in place once it took off for people to know where to call.
Actually, it was, Dawn, and here's the thing. I did mention it way before I did it. But what the situation is, it's no different than your phone going to my phone. People call this phone number, and I swear, if they don't get someone, they call every single phone number in the district. I get all of yours, as you know. You get those. I have changed the recording to try and steer them away from that. But unfortunately, it is what it is. But you don't need to respond or call them back or anything.
I think it could do once we change the website to direct it really quickly. And once that happened, my phone calls decreased to almost 0. So I'm just suggesting that we all be made aware so that we know what to expect. When I get 20 phone calls in a day, I'm totally shocked why.
Well, like I say, this has been as much of a learning experience from me.
I appreciate that.
I mean, I had no idea
I
how this would
completely
go.
understand. This is from my perspective, I'm just making a suggestion.
Don, can I ask a question in your report? Can you give a little report on Vineman and how it went? And was it a huge success?
Yeah, one of the reasons, I was talking to John about this just afterwards, and I thought it might be better for him not to come to this meeting to talk about the aftermath. There were a couple of things that happened this year that didn't happen last year, and that was the bridge closure turned out to be a gigantic problem. I didn't receive any paperwork from Vineman indicating to me that there was going to be a closure. He was supposed to give me every permit, every piece of paper that comes through. And even if there was a closure, there should have been an allowance for local traffic, which there wasn't. I know, just from the Village Inn perspective, 6 people were affected by the bridge being closed. It should never have been closed for that length of time.
Well,
So,
it was closed one way was the problem.
but people weren't allowed to go across it at all.
At one point, there was off-duty CHP woman earlier in the day.
I talked to him about that.
And she was the one that was not letting anybody go through.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that was the biggest problem was that, and there was one person in particular that Leslie's just mentioned that he's addressing. But from the rest of the perspective, I think it went pretty well. I know that their head guy got in an accident, as you know.
That was
with a pretty good concussion, just taking the bikers out.
Yeah, he lost control of the first turn.
Yeah. But other than that, I think everything went pretty well. I haven't heard from anybody else saying that that's not so.
I'm going to talk to John.
No, they left, they came in, it was a whirlwind, and everybody did what they were supposed to do. When they left, you couldn't even tell they were there.
Well, answer that's that emergency. He's not going to do that again, I guarantee you.
No.
It was just, even for an emergency vehicle, we had a problem. The deputy tried to go to a call. It wasn't supposed to be. It's not going to happen again.
I think they may have had the same arrangement last year, but it was who was in charge of there that created the problem.
Yes.
So he is going to absolutely address that, and before it occurs next year, we're going to be sure that we have a lot more information about how that's going to work, because there has to be allowances, certainly for emergency vehicles.
Yeah.
And
I don't see any reason. They don't have to close the bridge. They've got enough room between the girder and the bridge rail. They don't need to close it.
No, they don't.
There was a little bit of a problem last year, and I think some of it was the people trying to do traffic control didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
You know, I mean.
Well, these things do take time.